Hello and welcome back to the second episode of 10 Minutes with Ricky J. I'm your host, Ricky J, also known as Eric Jensen of the End Zone Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed episode one. Got some good responses from a few people that listen. Uh, Obviously, daily is something we're working up toward. Right now, that's a little bit tricky, but I'm still trying to fit it into my schedule. But Saturday morning, I've got time. So, big sports day Saturdays, usually for me. I spend most of the day watching the games. So, great time to dive into some stuff. We've got great stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about some college basketball, take a look at the MLS slate for the day, a few interesting NHL games, and then we're going to talk some cereal at the very end for the other part of it. So, without further ado, let's get going and get into this 10 minutes with Ricky J starting right now. Okay, let's start with college basketball. The game of the day, in my opinion, Auburn, Kentucky. Some people might argue Tennessee, Alabama. Listen, I agree that it's going to be a little bit more of a slog. These two teams play exciting styles of basketball. The 17 ranked Kentucky, the number one ranked Auburn. This is a really good shot to see which one of these teams is really ready for March. Kentucky's been up and down all year long. Mark Pope has some good wins. He's got some bad losses. He's been acclimating to the SEC. Meanwhile, on the other side, Bruce Pearl is maybe the coach of the year, taking Auburn to pretty much the no doubt number one seed in the SEC going into the tournament. He's most likely going to win the regular season championship, which doesn't mean much in college basketball, to be honest. It's just a nice bragging right. And he's probably the coach of the year candidate right now. For Kentucky, they have some really good players. I really like Otega Owe and Jackson Robinson, both very good. One guy who's been in and out of the lineup is Lamont Butler. If he can get healthy, if he can stay healthy, if he can keep producing at a high level, he's kind of the X factor for this Kentucky Wildcats team. Meanwhile, on the other side, you've got Janai Broom. Man, I love Janai Broom. Very, very good player. And uh, just fun to watch. Now, will he make it anywhere in the NBA? That's a good question. Centers are kind of being devalued there, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. Two other SEC bubble games. Now, what is a bubble game, you might ask? The NCAA tournament is currently comprised of a field of 68. They're thinking about expanding the tournament. I don't agree with that. That's for another day. But the bubble is the kind of outside looking into the tournament. There are, I believe, I want to say 32 automatic qualifiers to the tournament. Those are people that win their conference tournament championships. And then they have the rest as at-large bids. Usually at-large bids goes to Power 5, 6 conference teams with lots and lots of good resume wins. And on the bubble are a bunch of mid-major teams as well as some teams that have been up and down throughout the year, like for example, Oklahoma. Oklahoma started the year 13 and 0. They looked very strong out of conference, but they've struggled throughout the year. Now they play Ole Miss today. Currently, the Sooners record is 17 and 11. That's the definition of a bubble team. They're right there on the outside looking in. Are they a tournament team? Maybe, but winning the last three or four of their games and making a splash in their conference tournament is going to be a really key part of getting this team ready to go. Then you have true bubble games, which the bubbliest of the bubble games this weekend is probably Georgia, Texas. Georgia's 17 and 11, Texas is 16 and 12. If either one of them loses that game, the loser is probably not making the NCAA tournament unless they go on a run and win their conference tournament championship. And again, if you win your conference tournament championship, you automatically get a bid to March Madness. A few interesting mid-major games. USU, CSU, Utah State, Colorado State, very good Mountain West game. San Diego State, Wyoming, very solid Mountain West game as well. And Gonzaga, San Francisco. San Francisco can go a long way to getting an at-large bid if they can take care of Gonzaga tonight. Saturday night. Now, why do people watch mid-major basketball? It's the same reason people watch the MAC for college football. It's chaotic, it's weird. A lot of times it's not the most entertaining basketball, but there's always something cool happening. Let me take that back. It's not the best basketball to watch. It's always entertaining. There's misses, there's blown layups, there's bad fouls, there's horrible turnovers, there's fun everywhere, and it's usually up and down and a fun pace. I love the Mountain West and the American. Both of those are very good. I'm also a huge fan of the A10. If you're interested in some mid-major college basketball, go check any of those leagues out. Finally, we're going to talk about the NHL a little bit today. Three interesting games of note. The Lightning and the Washington Capitals early this morning. That's on ABC. I believe it's their hockey game of the day. This is a great one. The Capitals are trying to establish themselves as true Stanley Cup contenders. After they waxed the Penguins and Oilers last weekend, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. They're a very solid team with great depth scoring, a few high quality scorers in Dylan Strome and Alex Ovechkin, and a really good goaltender in Logan Thompson. I think they have all that it takes. But you know who else has what it takes to win the Stanley Cup? The Tampa Bay Lightning. They have played insanely well coming out of a break as well. Nikita Kucherov got some rest. They have a lot of good players. Jake Guentzel has contributed well for them, and they have a lot of depth, as well as Andrei Vasilevsky, who's playing some of his best hockey right now. And when the Big Cats being the best goaltender in hockey, the Lightning are dangerous. Then you've got Detroit Columbus, a bubble game for the NHL. Two teams fighting for a wild card spot. Columbus has been hot recently and took care of Detroit in Detroit on Thursday night. Now they play in the Horseshoe outdoors in Columbus. This is a very, very important game for both these teams. Tune in. New Jersey, Utah. Utah clapping Minnesota on Thursday night. They're finally healthy. If Utah can get a win against a New Jersey team that's up and down, but one of the better teams in the East, you could see the Utah Hockey Club being um, buyers at the deadline. In the MLS, we're going to rapid fire through this because I want to get to our 5 minutes of non-sports. Few really good games. Philly, Cincy, these look like two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. Check it out. Charlotte, Atlanta, Wilfried Zaha's debut potentially today, and Latte Loft looked really good for Atlanta. This should be an up and down battle. That's another good one. Two West Coast battles to look at, San Diego and St. Louis. Anders Dryers was maybe my favorite player to watch in week one of MLS. I'll definitely be checking this one out. And then you've got Sporting Kansas City and San Jose. San Jose scored 4 goals last week, looked like a potent offense. And SKC, they're out of Champions League now. This is their first chance to kind of look at what they're going to be in Major League Soccer. All right, finally, I want to talk about cereal today. I haven't been a huge breakfast guy most of my life, but as I've gotten older and as I've added certain people to my life, aka the Paramore, very into breakfast. So I try to eat breakfast on the weekends. Now, do I love breakfast food? No. Non-cereal breakfast food, I kind of prefer. But I don't want to go to a restaurant all the time, and I don't really want to make it. Sometimes you just need a good bowl of cereal, and for me, some soy milk or some almond milk, so it doesn't upset my tummy, you know? Fruit Loops, delicious. Always have been, have loved them since a kid. A childhood cereal, delicious. The residued Fruit Loop milk is nectar of the gods. It's beautiful. Corn Pops, highly underrated cereal. Very good, crunchy, not too sweet, really good taste, really good milk residue afterwards. Milk residue is key for me in cereal choice. If you want something more holiday centric, Boo Berry only comes out in October. Very good. Got some marshmallows. Is good. In terms of marshmallows, you can't go wrong with Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms, listen, I have to be in a Lucky Charms mood. And I know you gotta eat through the Cheerio type things, and those are nasty. I don't like Cheerios. Get that healthy stuff out of there. If it was just a box of marshmallows, I'd love it. If I could buy heavy marshmallow Lucky Charms, which I'm sure they sell, I would buy that. But Lucky Charms are absolutely delicious, and they get hyped for a good reason. It's just a good cereal. And then finally, the cereal of my childhood. I just remember going over to my godparents' house and eating this stuff all the time. My parents wouldn't let us have sugar cereals growing up. Good on them, keeping us healthy. But now I'm an adult. I can eat all the shit I want. Captain Crunch. Oh my God, I love Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch is delicious. Captain Crunch berries, also good. The peanut butter, hit or miss. I'm not a huge fan of Reese's Puffs or Captain Crunch peanut butter. I think it's too salty. I don't love it. I like the classic Captain Crunch or the Captain Crunch berries. Both of those are really good, but can't go wrong with a classic bowl of Captain Crunch. Absolutely delicious. All right, with that, we're definitely over 10 minutes. Now, here's a nice little hint about 10 minutes with Ricky J. It's just the title. Sometimes it's going to be closer to 12 minutes. But this has been fun. Appreciate you all for watching. Go check out the sports today. A lot of good stuff on. This will be up on YouTube shortly. Thanks so much, and we will see you all next week. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. Peace out.